When famous people misbehave, we all win. The Celebrity Apprentice is back.
Raising money for charity.
Will there be backstabbing and cutthroat behavior?
You are out of line, as usual, again.
Yes.
But only because it's for charity.
If I poke my finger in someone's face...
If I tell him to talk to the hand...
If I have to take credit for her idea, it's for charity.
We're changing lives.
There will be fights.
Hair pulling.
Backstabbing.
Betrayal.
Hissy fits.
You're being condescending, that's all you're doing.
Hey, it's for charity.
For charity.
It's not me, it's for charity.
Will people betray each other to win?
I have never felt more set up in my life.
Duh.
We don't want to throw anyone under the bus.
Though that may happen.
I'm running the bus over everybody.
For charity.
Because not playing nice can make the world a better place for all of us.
The first person to call me Sulu gets a karate chop to the neck.
Celebrity Apprentice premieres Sunday, February 19th on NBC.
That was beautiful.
Well, hello everybody out there in radio and TV land, and welcome to another Hollywood Today show. I'm your host, Brad Evans, and joining me in the studios of WCAN Radio is my friend and co-host, Mr. Tim Sember. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing great, because we have one of our friends on today, the Miss Deborah Gibson.
That's right.
Or is it Debbie Gibson?
I don't know. We're gonna have to
I think
ask
she
her.
might be
We're gonna
going
have to find
Deborah
out.
now. Maybe, you know, we can check with her and see. But
I don't think she'll mind if we say Debbie.
oh no.
Hope
But
not.
we had a great time last summer. Tim and I actually got to hang out with Deborah and Tiffany, of course, two big, huge pop queens from
back in the 80s. That's right.
But they were down at the House of Blues in Cleveland this past summer, and Tim and I had a wonderful time hanging with them backstage and going to the wonderful concert. And there's a little clip that we have here, because I can have a blonde moment sometime. And here's me and Tiffany and Deborah, and we thought that Tim was actually taking a photo of us, but little did we know he was rolling film. So take a watch.
I'm Brad Evans with the Hollywood Today show.
Oh, it's...
That's right.
Ah.
Brad, I'm not even thinking.
We were just enjoying holding on to Brad.
There you go.
He calls a shot, it's tough beating me.
That's right. But Brad Evans with Hollywood Today show here with the beautiful Tiffany and Debbie Gibson. Here at the House
That's
of
right.
Blues.
Hi. And I'm clearly blonde because I thought it was a still photo.
Well, I
Don't worry,
followed the lead. I was like,
It's the blonde leading the blind.
All right, on with us right now is the lovely and beautiful Miss Deborah Gibson. Debbie, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Doing great, doing great. Tim and I had such a wonderful time last summer at the House of Blues with you and Tiffany when you were here for your Journey Through the 80s tour.
Oh, wasn't that a blast?
It was great. It was great.
It was definitely a journey. I remember that. It was awesome.
And you have to check out the video. We did play a video before you called in just now of, I don't know if you remember, Tim was taking what we thought was a picture of me and you and Tiffany, and we're sitting there smiling for a few minutes.
Oh, yeah, I totally remember.
Remember that? And it's like, oh, are you rolling the film?
That's funny. It's a common mistake. Yes, I'm sure we look very foolish, and you're all having a good laugh at our expense, but go for it.
No, you know what? It's a great video. It's a great video of the three of us, so you have to check that out.
That's funny.
Well, Tim and I were so happy to find out that you were going to be on this season of The Apprentice. So how did that come about?
Basically, the producers reached out to me, and at first I was like, at first I was honored because it's always a really cool group of people they assemble. Then I went into like, oh my God, do I want to do something so out of my comfort zone and tax my nervous system to this degree, and what's my personal purpose for wanting to do it? And so I questioned it, and at first decided I wasn't going to do it. And they kept coming back to me saying, rethink it, and ultimately, I'm really glad I came around to doing it, and the charity aspect definitely was the defining factor for me because, you really can stand to put your charity on the map, and obviously I'd be lying if I didn't say it's also an amazing platform and press platform for everything that you do in your career, but but I don't think I could have woken up every day on very little sleep and run around Manhattan like a lunatic if it didn't have a backbone. And the charity is the backbone of that show, really.
Oh, it truly is. And, of course, we're fans of watching the show. Had you seen any of the previous Celebrity Apprentices at all?
Yeah, I mean, I had seen a bit, and I had to really acquaint myself with it once I signed on to do the show. So, yeah, they gave me basically the DVD collection, and but I knew that I wanted to know enough about it to know how the game was played in a sense, but then I wanted to go into it fresh and with my own perspective, and that's what I did. I mean, I just showed up every day, and really showed up, and was kind of like, okay, what is the day going to bring, and tried not to base what I was doing on anything I ever saw in some previous episode or anything, and it was definitely an experience.
Well, I can imagine, and even when you were watching those tapes and you saw like maybe Omarosa from that season, or you saw Nene Leakes, you're probably thinking, oh, great, what did I get myself into?
I mean, one thing in watching it, you think, oh my God, like, how are these people acting like this on camera, and are these relationships really real, I mean, or or is this stuff kind of fabricated? And you grow to learn that it actually is all very real. And, relationships get formed, they break down. Who you thought you were going to like, you don't like. Who you thought you wouldn't like, you end up liking. I mean, it's really crazy, the dynamics that go on.
Oh, yeah. And then you weren't the only 80s star on there of music, Dee Snider from Twisted Sister. So what was that like being with him?
He's awesome, and he's somebody who's kept him seen and relevant all these years. And, I really, really enjoyed working with him.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, we're really looking forward to watching that. Absolutely. Now, I was excited to hear that your charity you spoke about is Children International. See if you can briefly talk about that.
Yeah, Children International is an organization that works with mainly kids in developing nations. And I was actually in the Philippines a little over a year ago, and I was in the midst of the devastation. And it's people... you see the infomercials, but until you're there, seeing the sights, smelling the smells, witnessing the tears, seeing kids at 2 years old climbing through trash heaps to find bottles, and their feet are bleeding. I mean, it's insane.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
insane what goes on. It makes you thank God you have running water and a roof over your head. And, I started sponsoring kids through that foundation when I was a teenager and have worked with them over the years. And so I thought this was really an opportunity to hopefully put them on the map and make more people aware. And if one more kid got sponsored out of the whole thing, apart from money that I stand to raise, it's worth it. And a lot of people are becoming aware just even through this press I'm doing about them. And it really is true, what they say when it's like a cup of, for the price of a cup of coffee, you can save a life. And it's actually true.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is
and
incredible.
Debbie, we do applaud you for that because loving your music. Of course, I grew up in the '80s as well, and then having the pleasure of Tim and I meeting you last year, seeing that you really are such a sweet person. So
thank you.
That's so awesome that you get behind children with that. Well, we do have time for one quick email. So we had some emails come in, Debbie, from some of your fans, and Tim's going to read one.
This is from Kayla in Concord, Vermont. She writes, what were some of the challenges in doing the Celebrity Apprentice, and how did it change you?
A challenge for me was, I'm a team player, so I can't be on a team and against people on my own team at the same time, and there were definitely people that played with that agenda. Mm-hmm. So that was tricky for me. And what was the second part of the question?
How it changed you?
How did it change you?
It made me realize how resourceful you can be. Like, just when you think you don't have enough time or you don't have enough budget to pull off something off, or, there's always like that extra mile you can go or that extra place you could dig from. And I did always know that, but it puts that in your face. It really is a huge reminder of that it's, as Tony Robbins says, it's never a lack of resources, but a lack of resourcefulness.
Well, what was Mr. Trump like?
He's great. I actually have always liked him because he is who he is, makes no bones about it, and he definitely has a presence. He walks in a room and you feel a presence, and he's a character.
Oh, yeah.
And he's very definite in his opinions, and I happen to like that. I'm a New Yorker, and I definitely wasn't wishy-washy with him. If he asked me my opinion, I gave it to him straight up. I wasn't one of those people that was like, oh, everybody on the team was great, because there's always a weak link. It doesn't mean you don't like somebody, but it might mean that somebody fell short, and he kind of demands that you give it to him straight, and I did.
Oh, that's awesome. And you saying being a New Yorker, I was born and raised in Cleveland, but I guess I was a New York wannabe.
Right.
That is my favorite city. Well, speaking of New York, I just read recently, I don't know how recent, that there's an 80s nightclub called Culture Club that
Yes.
you are part owner now?
Yes, I'm a partner and kind of spokesperson, and call me the ambassador for the 80s. But yeah, Culture Club is awesome. I started performing there in a different incarnation, like in my late 20s, and now something just started playing on my phone. Sorry. Yeah, and now I've become a part of it, and it's awesome. I mean, everybody, I think people want to escape back to a time where there was just a little more innocence, and the music was melodic and fun, and life didn't take itself too seriously, and New York needs a place like that for people, especially of my generation, to go and just dance and have a good time that's not kind of pretentious with the velvet ropes and all of that.
Exactly. Well, that sounds like a place I definitely want to check out.
Yeah,
I want to check out. Now, we've had a lot of people ask about the Katy Perry video. That's such awesome. And you had a cameo in that. So
Yes.
how did that come about? Did they approach you, or?
They did, and they were like, at first they came to me and they were asking if I wanted to be like a guest at the party or whatever. And I thought, well, it's kind of pushing it for me to play a teenager. And then they came back to me and they were like, do you want to play the mom of a teenage Katy? And I thought, that's perfect. That's fun.
Yeah.
Like, character role. I was, kind of channeling my mom's hair and wardrobe from that time period. So yeah, that was really fun, and she's awesome. It was so much fun to watch her at work because she oversees every aspect of everything. Between takes, she was running to the monitor saying, hey, can I see that back? And she's very hands-on, and yet when it's time to let down the professional demeanor and just be a girl, she can be that too. And so she's, really kind of, I think, mastered that juggling act of being a pro, but being real, and her music's great, her voice is great. She's just churned out hit after hit, and it is reminiscent of the 80s. It's that hooky pop music that, like the song or don't like the song, you can't get it out of your head.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Before we go, Deb, I want you to plug your website. Now, was it revamped recently? Because it looked like it was a little bit new.
It was. It's Deborah-Gibson.com, hyphen in the middle. Or you can follow me on Twitter at Debbie Gibson. And I don't know what to say about the site except it did get an overhaul recently. I'm very active on Twitter also, and you can check out what's going on obviously on the site. And
Yeah, well, with Twitter, I just myself got on and started following you, so I'm slowly dipping my toe into that Twitter pool. So,
cool. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Well, Deb, before we go, I want to say real quick, I almost feel like David Silver. Do you remember that back in the 80s with 90s with 90210?
Yeah.
That was my favorite show back then, and of course you had a cameo, which was awesome.
Did.
So I was going to ask you about that last summer, but I forgot. Well, I know you got to run. Tim and I, of course, are supporting you for this season of the Celebrity Apprentice. Of course, we love you, and thanks for being a friend of the Hollywood Today Show, and come back anytime when you got some more time when things slow down a little bit. We'd love to chat with you some more.
Thanks, guys.
Take care, Debbie.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We'd like to thank everybody for joining us right here on Hollywood Today. Again, until next time, take care of yourselves, live your dreams, and have a wonderful day.